Picture a vessel swallowed completely by violent ocean waves. It is sealed tight. It has no sails, no windows, and no traditional deck. Inside this claustrophobic capsule, the only light comes from glowing stones. To any shipwright working on the Atlantic coast in the 19th century, this design is a physical absurdity. It violates every established principle of European naval architecture. Yet this exact engineering schematic appears in the Book of Mormon, published in upstate New York in 1830. If the author didn't pull this counterintuitive blueprint from contemporary shipping manuals, we have to ask where such a highly specific, bizarre structure actually originated. If we set aside 19th century naval logic and compare these descriptions with archaic blueprints, a different structural lineage begins to emerge. We can deconstruct this claim by examining three distinct vectors: the ancient vessel's architecture, the luminous stones providing its light, and the sacred cargo it carried. Treating the Jaredite barge as a literal engineering document forces a reevaluation of the text's potential ancient provenance. For decades, scholars assumed the Babylonian Nineveh texts represented the original ancient flood narrative, but archaeological excavations at Nippur unearthed Sumerian tablets that predated the Nineveh texts by 15 centuries. These older Nippur texts describe an archaic vessel that looks nothing like the massive, box-like ark of European tradition. They describe the Magur boat. This schematic aligns the 13 textual specifications of the Sumerian Magur boat, alongside the phrasing found in Ether chapters 2 and 6. Both describe a vessel with peaked ends, completely covered, driven without sails, and built to transport heavy freight. Both the Sumerian text and the Book of Ether explicitly require submersibility to survive being buried in the depths. Operating a sealed, submersible craft introduces an immediate mechanical challenge, maintaining a breathable air supply. The Babylonian texts use a specific linguistic term for the air mechanism on the Magur boat, the napashu. While later European translations often rendered this word as window, its literal definition is a breather or ventilator. This maps to the mechanical restriction in ether, where a hole is unstopped for air, but sealed tightly against the water. The structural layout and the ventilation mechanics of the Jaredite barge reflect a specific naval tradition, details that were lost to the 19th century public. The most historically criticized feature of the Jaredite vessels is their light source. The brother of Jared extracts clear stones from rock, melting them down to be touched by the finger of God for internal illumination. This shining stone concept appears frequently in ancient Near Eastern traditions, linking divine light directly to deep water passage. This map traces the geographic distribution of the shining stone motif. In classical and Indian traditions, the pyrophilus and jalakanta stones are crystals produced by extreme heat to enable survival in oceanic depths. The earliest iteration of this concept appears in the Gilgamesh epic. Utnapishtim, the Babylonian Noah figure, ties heavy stones to his feet for a descent into the cosmic ocean. But an even more precise parallel exists in an isolated rabbinic tradition found in the Palestinian Talmud. The text explicitly records that Noah distinguished day from night inside the pitch-black ark by using suspended precious stones that glowed in the dark. The Palestinian Talmud was exceptionally obscure. In 1830, it remained completely untranslated in any modern language. The glowing stones in the Geredite barges replicate a multi-layered ancient Near Eastern tradition that was not accessible to an author in the early 19th century United States. Beyond architecture and lighting, the cargo of the Jaredite migration carries its own ancient signature, the inclusion of swarms of bees. Ether 2:3 makes a specific linguistic claim about this cargo, stating they carried deseret, which by interpretation is a honeybee. We find the exact cognate for this word in ancient Egyptian, deshert, vocalized as deseret. In the Egyptian lexicon, deshert occupies a tripartite semantic range, representing the Holy Land, the red crown of Lower Egypt, and the bee symbol. Throughout the ancient Mediterranean, the bee symbol was linked to sacral kingship and the establishment of new holy lands. Pre-dynastic Egyptian foundation narratives feature a Mesopotamian-linked migration that establishes a new civilization, mirroring the pattern described in the Book of Ether. The word deseret operates as an authentic pre-dynastic Egyptian vocabulary item. Its context, a migration carrying bees to establish a set-apart Holy Land, corresponds to the Jaredite Exodus. The physical model is complete, a Magur ship design illuminated by stones mirroring the pyrophilus tradition, transporting deseret cargo across the ocean. The duration of the voyage is also notable. The 344-day timeline aligns with modern oceanographic models of the Pacific Current drift from Asia to the Americas. But the engineering of the ship points to a deeper theological function within Latter-day Saint temple ideology. The 16 stones, touched by the finger of God, connect to the broader patriarchal tradition of the Urim and Thummim. Ancient Near Eastern traditions treat such stones as tokens of the divine presence, physical instruments of revelation, and symbols of authority. This leads to the narrative climax of the text. The brother of Jared stands at the mountain, penetrates the veil of unbelief, and witnesses the pre-mortal creator. The physical illumination required to survive the dark depths of the ocean serves as a macro typology for the spiritual light required to rend the veil and enter the presence of God. This chart maps the text of either three. We see that the theological climax is structured as a Hebrew chiasmus, moving from faith to the veil and finally to perfect knowledge. The physical specifications of the Jaredite barge align with an archaic theology of light and sacral migration. When the structural, linguistic, and ritual layers are mapped together, they reveal a coherent ancient Near Eastern signature embedded within the 1830 text.